It's time to work on the good puddle block, the first block of row 3 of our Spring Showers quilt. The puddle block is on page 44. The background fabric has fusible interfacing on the back. Then I will be using some blue tinted vinyl, and I will be using 2 layers of Mylar. The directions are for 1 layer, but I thought that adding 2 might give a little bit more shimmer to the puddle. Let's get started. I wanted to show how I keep my packets organized. I just have a plastic container I bought at a craft store. I put all my packets in after I get them put together with all the fabric, and then I keep the box that my fabric kit came in as well, that has all the extra fabric just in case I need it. I also have the embellishment packet and the embellishment packet for the end that has all the little 3D elements that we'll add. And this is how I keep my whole project organized. I will be adding my embroidery designs and background quilting from my machine instead of using software. We'll go to embroidery. I'll still go to the USB. This time I'll go to the quilting bundle. I'll be using Weather 1. And then I will scroll down to find the 6x6 horizontal. So on the machine you can see 6x6 and 6x6, and it doesn't show the entire name, but because H comes before V, so the horizontal will be the first of the 2, and then the vertical would be the second. So we'll go ahead and pick the horizontal, and then I will hit set. Now I'm going to go down here to add, go back to the USB, go to the embroidery files folder, and then I will find the Good Puddle embroidery file and hit set. Now I will hit embroidery. Once I hit embroidery, this becomes like one design, and I can move the design down. Remember, I hoop my muslin and all the excesses in the back, so I want to move the design down as far as it can go to save on my stabilizer. So I will move it down. You can hear and see that the hoop moved down as I moved it down. Now I'm ready to stitch the placement line for the batting. I've sprayed the back of my batting with a little bit of temporary adhesive, and I will center it right in the placement line. Because I've cut my batting to size, I don't need to run the next step, which is the tack down of the batting, or the following step, which is the placement line for the fabric. I will skip those 2 steps if you hit this needle plus and minus. This down arrow will skip the 2nd step, and then hit it again for the 3rd step to skip. And now I'm ready for placing the fabric and running the tack down of the fabric. I'll be using metallic thread for the background quilting, so I have my metallic thread on a thread stand that will sit to the back right side of my machine. And I've also threaded it not using the automatic threader. I will go to settings, and I will change the speed down to the lowest my machine will go, which is 350 stitches per minute. I always change it when I'm using metallic thread. Now it's time for the placement line for the Mylar. I'm going to keep my metallic thread in since I will be doing the fill stitch over the mylar with metallic thread, so I will keep my machine at the lowest speed. I've placed both my sheets of mylar and taped them down over the placement line. Now we can stitch the fill. I will now tear the mylar away from the stitching. It's much easier to tear than it is to cut. And if there are a few little pieces left over, you can trim those. I have a few little pieces here that I'll go ahead and trim up with my scissors. Now it's time to embroider the words. I went ahead and increased the speed in my machine. I stopped my machine after the top 3 words were finished. The word puddle will be stitched over our mylar, so I'm going to go ahead and lower my machine back down to the lowest speed it will go. After the word puddle, I will go ahead and stop my machine again and increase to do the remaining words. I'm going to stop my machine so I can cut that thread that didn't quite get cut with the last word. It's time to place the mint vinyl over the puddle to do the last step. Normally when I trim the muslin from behind the quilt block, I trim right next to the batting line. However, this background quilting design is one of the designs that will go into the seam allowances, so we will trim it as close as we can, but this will be one that will be in the seam allowance just a little bit. After trimming the excess muslin, press the block face down so the iron does not touch the vinyl, or it will melt. This is another block I'm going to cut from the front instead of the back. Because the background quilting goes into the seams, it's easier to line up from the front. There will be approximately 1/8 of an inch from the line that goes into the seam to the cut line.